I have a way too early Texas Tech offensive line too deep. And I want to preface something here. It is extremely difficult at this current moment to project who some of these backups are. But I think some of these backups are the more talented guys. And if you remember, Joey McGuire has said multiple times this offseason, specifically when it comes to the offensive line, that they're going to mix and match places, right? There's a certain number of guys that are locked in, and you'll know who those guys are. There's really 4 of them for Texas Tech that I think are, well, actually really only 3, if you ask me right now, potentially, because you don't know where the other one's going to play just because of one of the positions and who steps up. If not, you have to move somebody out there. But it's going to be interesting in this regard, just from the standpoint of, hey, okay, I think this group for Texas Tech is extremely talented. And here it is. The early projected 2024 Texas Tech offensive line 2-deep depth chart. Man, I really went to work in Canva for you guys for this. Just kidding. But this is kind of where I'm at right now. You got left tackle, left guard, center, right guard, right tackle. When you look at everything right here, I think that the locks, in my opinion, and when I say lock, I say it outside of 3 positions loosely. I think it's a given that your guards are who they are at this point. I think Sciury's going to be your left guard. I think Carter's going to be your right guard. Center, as of right now, I'm going to project Caleb Rogers to be that guy. Now, I say right now because let's just say shit hits the fan at left tackle and Rodriques and Porcher just don't live up to anything, right? You got to move Ty Buchanan over back to left tackle and Rogers to right tackle, and then you got Wilson at center. I think that you probably do some shuffling like that. I don't think that'll be the case at all. I think if you go from left to right, if you ask me who I think the starting offensive line is for Texas Tech against Abilene Christian on August 31st, kickoff TBD, at least at this point, as far as I know, you got Rodriques, Sciury, Rogers, Carter, and then Ty at right tackle. That's what I think happens if you're Texas Tech, okay? Then you look at the guys in terms of the depth here. And by the way, I think this is the best depth Texas Tech has had in quite a long time. I really do, because you're talking about multiple guys here that I think can play at a high level that are young. You see it right there. You got Fattig, redshirt freshman. Sill, redshirt freshman. Carr, redshirt freshman. Wilson, sophomore. Rodriques, a guy that was wanted by some of the biggest universities in the country and some of the best at that, including the likes of Georgia. He has a chance to be your starting left tackle, or Porcher to transfer from Middle Tennessee State. Now, overall, you've got multiple guys that can come in here. And I know I don't have guys like, Holton Hendricks or Ellis Davis. Ellis Davis, by the way, will not show up to campus until summer. So there's that. But this is kind of where I'm at right now if you're Texas Tech, from the standpoint of, I think Rodriques presents to you at the left tackle spot the highest upside. I think that guy is raw, but he has all the tools to be a really good left tackle. Will it click early at Texas Tech? He's making a hell of a jump, people. I mean, a hell of a jump from the JUCO ranks to Power 5 football. I guess technically Power 4. My apologies, Pac-12 fans. Then you got Vinny Sciury, a guy that was one of the best guards in the MAC, protected MAC player of the year, now the Baylor quarterback, and Daquan Finn. He's going to be your starting left guard. He does not come here as a senior if he does not have a really, really good chance, if you know what I mean, to start at left guard. Then center, Caleb Rogers. That may surprise some people that haven't been paying attention to what Joey McGuire has said. Caleb Rogers came back for his super senior year after getting some really feedback from the NFL saying, hey, we want to see what he looks like playing inside. Caleb Rogers has only ever really played left tackle and right tackle at Texas Tech. I would suspect he's your starting center because you went out and got a guy like Davion Carter, who is a super senior coming in from Memphis that has been one of the best right guards in all of college football if you look at Pro Football Focus and their grading. I mean, he was easily the best lineman at his respective position in his conference last year at Memphis. So that's the guy at right guard. And then we know about Ty Buchanan. I mean, he was a stabilizing force for Texas Tech at a pivotal time at left tackle. Could he improve? Yeah, I think so. But I think he's going to be much more comfortable on the right side, and I project him to be the starting right tackle. Now, I will say this. When it comes to the tackle spots, it would not surprise me if these are flipped. But right now, this is where I'm going, and I think this is the way that the coaches are thinking going into fall camp with Ty, that he will be the starting right tackle. But if needed, he can flip over to left tackle, and maybe one of these guys like Carr, Rodriques, Porcher, other couple of guys as well could step up and be the right tackle for Texas Tech. But I do feel really confident right now, and as we know, it's way too early. It says in the title right there, these are the early projected 2024 Texas Tech offensive line 2 deep depth chart. It's way too early, people. But this is my best guess right now, and I feel pretty comfortable that you're going to have guys like Sciury, Rodgers, Carter, and Buchanan in those 4 spots right there. That's kind of where I'm at. All right, let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree. I'll give a couple of shout outs real quick to people commenting right now, and then go from there. But let me know if y'all agree, disagree when it comes down to what I've got on the offensive line there. I know it's way too early, but that's kind of where I'm at in terms of my way of thinking, specifically at the 4 spots from left guard to the right side. I think those are pretty solid locks at this point, but maybe those locks are broken when spring camp starts. All right, this from Dustin on Twitter, which, by the way, you can watch on Twitter. Shout out to everybody watching on Twitter right now. This from Dustin. Love Hamby. He was as a player and a coach, but O-line needs work, and change can be good. Agreed. Hub City Hoops Talk. How y'all doing? Even Jacob has the flu. Yeah, not ideal. A lot of flu going around right now. I hope everybody's feeling okay. This from Greg. Who will be the next offensive line coach? Yeah, I think that's interesting, and I'm not even going to act like I know, Greg. I really don't. In terms of that right there, I think that Texas Tech could go a multitude of ways, but if you ask me which direction I think they should go, which, again, you're here to listen to my opinion, which I truly appreciate, I would probably say they go the veteran route. They go get an older guy, maybe not a guy like Castor that I think in the future will be a really good offensive line coach at the Power 4 level, but I think that they go the experienced route and try and get someone that has proven it at the Power 4 level to be a really good offensive line coach at some respective school at that level. All right, T. Ferg says, predicting Chance McMillan and Pop to shoot the lights out in Waco tonight. Yeah, Pop's going to have to be big as he always is, it feels like, and I predicted it in the preview video. I think Chance McMillan has a big game and is arguably the second most important player for Texas Tech tonight. The most important, you can go watch the preview video over there. And hint, it's a guard for Texas Tech, and maybe I mentioned him there, maybe I didn't. Who knows? This from Ty Rogers. That camera angle is terrible. No way they haven't noticed it. Oh, they've noticed it. They've tried to change it, but I think it's just a building flaw at this point. This from Renee. +1 right now. A win tonight would be great, but if Tech loses Saturday at home, they are in trouble. Yeah, I think Saturday is a must-win game for the Red Raiders. Regardless of the outcome tonight in Waco, you have to beat UCF, plain and simple. All right. Any questions in terms of what we've got on the O-line here? We've got Ty saying, I agree with you this far on the line. T. Ferg says Rodriques, Sciury, Rodgers, Carter, Porcher at right tackle. You think Ty Buchanan does not start? That is interesting, but I think this is where I'm at right now going into spring. Unless something changes drastically, this is kind of how I feel Texas Tech is viewing it. Obviously, things can change in spring ball, but for me, I would predict this. Rodriques, Sciury, Rodgers, Carter, Ty, those are going to be the starting guys for Texas Tech against Abilene Christian on August 31st. Greg says, Clay McGuire, or apparently the offensive line coach from Kentucky who coached with Kenny Perry at Kansas, is possible coach. I don't think anything's out of the question in terms of connections. I think you could go back and look at Joey McGuire's time at Baylor. Maybe they target that offensive line coach. He's currently coaching in college football right now. Maybe he wants to work with Joey McGuire again. Clay McGuire, yes. And then you've got, multiple connections to everybody else on the staff. Obviously, you had the connection with Hamby and Kitley from their time over on top of the hill for the Hilltoppers at Western Kentucky, and that's why he was brought in, not to mention his connection as an alumni. So I don't think anything's off the table for Texas Tech. I just personally think they go the experienced route because it's what's most needed right now for Texas Tech. But I will say, it's going to be super interesting. And I also want to say this before we end the offensive line talk and get into the Q&A. If y'all want to leave your questions, whether that's about football, men's basketball, whatever it may be, even baseball coming up here in a couple weeks. I'll be at the openers for Texas Tech here in the DFW area when they face off against the likes of the Volunteers of Tennessee. So that'll be crazy over at Globe Life Field as well. So let me get back to this real quick in terms of switching on over for you guys. I do want to say this. If you haven't already, like the video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on that notification bell. It really helps the channel out, and it tells me, hey, y'all like this content? We'll do more lives here on the channel if y'all like the video and hit that subscribe button. And just tell me in the chat, hey, we want more lives, RC. Let me know. All you got to do is ask, and we'll make it happen. I can promise you that. So